to ask Ashley to start the recording. Okay, saw the thumbs up, awesome. Thank you, Ashley. So before we dive into the biggest pieces of what we're going over with Global Days, just want to get a chance to introduce some of the people who are behind the scenes on Global Days this year. Like I said, my name is Becca. I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni Engagement, and I'm going to pass it off to Allie to introduce herself next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allie Putta. I'm the Associate Director of Alumni Engagement here at SNHU, and I will be co-presenting here with Becca tonight. Chantel, do you want to go next?
I would love to. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Chantel Freeman, and I am one of the Associate Directors with our Online Engagement Student Involvement team. So excited to be here. Been part of the crew for about 3 years, and I'm actually, you'll learn, the contact for online students looking to lead a project. So I'm excited to continue this work with you guys and give back to the communities with all of you. So thanks for having me.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley. I'm an Engagement Operations Coordinator within the Alumni Engagement team, and I'm so excited to have us all here tonight and have you learn about what the movement's going to look like. And I would like to introduce Kirsten if Kirsten would like to introduce themselves in this moment.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Kirsten Spooner. I'm a SNHU alum, but now working for SNHU in the Chandler Center as an assistant director.
Awesome. We're very happy to have you working on Global Days with us and to have you a part of this new team. So all of us have some role in working with hopefully all of our participants tonight who sign up to be a part of either leading a project or participating in one. So hopefully we all get to work with you even more over the next few months of gearing up to and being a part of Global Days. So again, thank you so much to everyone who's joining us tonight. And I think we're probably ready to dive in. Allie, if you want to go to the second slide, we can review the agenda real quick. We're going to go through a quick history of Global Days of Service, explain how it came to be for those of you who are unfamiliar, go over the ways to get involved, which hopefully is what you're all most excited to hear tonight. We'll give a little glimpse of past projects to give you an idea of maybe what you could sign up for or create on your own. And then lastly, we saved plenty of time for answering all of your questions. All right, and anyone, Chantel or otherwise, stop me if there are questions that we want to address while I'm talking. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what this is going to look like. We're looking at 2 months of service for this Global Days. If you were with us last year, you might have seen that we did 4 months. It was a little different last year as we really pivoted to an online focus. This year, we're really hoping to be in person and virtual, have a real an experience of whatever people are comfortable with. We look forward to having in-person events with people who feel like they would like to participate. And if you're not there yet, there's a lot of opportunities to volunteer virtually or the DIY events that we'll talk about too. But I do want to acknowledge that this is our 7th year of Global Days of Service, which is really exciting. This was started by a colleague of ours in the Office of Alumni Engagement, Sarah Telfer, who continues to spearhead a lot of our efforts this year. It's morphed over the years to be housed in Institutional Advancement, which oversees our alumni team, but it is very much owned by a number of offices and departments within SNHU, as hopefully you saw by Chantel and Kirsten being with us tonight. Student involvement, online engagement, the Chandler Center on campus, human resources, and more. It really is for everyone who has a connection to SNHU to be a part of this. Due to the pandemic, as with just about everything, so many things have changed in Global Days of Service. So if you participated a few years ago, as we hope you have, it probably did look different than the participation last year. And like I said, we hope it looks different this year too. Ultimately, it's about, I think, finding what works for you to be able to give back to your community, whatever is best for you, however that fits your comfort level and needs and interests and what your community needs. There's plenty of ways to give back and to participate in community service. And we're just going to give you some ideas of how to do that tonight. And I'm going to toss it to Allie to take the next couple of slides.
Awesome. So you might be wondering why we started this movement and why we're continuing it. Right? We think that service is a great equalizer amongst many members of our community. A lot of individuals, right, like may have volunteered from an early age or just started volunteering, and we think that's awesome. And so it's a really great way to right? If it's an in-person opportunity, virtual, whatever the case may be, share your experience and share what you're doing in your community, whatever you're passionate about, and really just making an impact. We also think it's great that folks can share their pride of the SNHU community. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on, but it's a great way to bring our pride into communities and to see the strengthening of each one of us and as a community as a whole. So the how, this is the crux of the conversation tonight, but really is kind of 3 ways that we encourage you all to think about how to get involved. You could lead a project with an organization that's in your area. You can join a project nearby, whatever passion project you have, whether that's you know, working with animals or giving to local soup kitchen, or you just volunteer on your own, which is pretty awesome too. And so if you are like, yeah, you know, leading a project I don't really have time for, or I don't really see an opportunity for me right now. If you're already doing service, which probably most of you already are, and that's why you're here tonight, because you want to learn more, then we want to know what you're doing too. And so I just want to highlight 2 really quick experiences from some volunteers last year, and really just highlighting their experience and what it meant to them. I'll read these quickly, but you can read along with me. The best part of my experience is that I organized the cleanup and took a lot of pride in cleaning up my reservation. Today was an amazing day. We picked up 10 full bags of trash, 30 feet estimated of barbed wire, 1 old shovel that was falling apart, what looked like a backhoe in the same condition, a bat, a few large parts of a refrigerator, and so many other miscellaneous items, both land and water. Second quote is, the best part of my SNHU Global Days of Service experience was having my own experience with homelessness come full circle. I am in a position now to donate food to the same local homeless shelter I lived in years ago. SNHU's constant reminders about Global Days of Service made it impossible for me to ignore the call to action. I was inspired by my school's commitment to doing good in the community. So just really awesome, you know, stories that folks were able to share as a part of sharing their story of volunteerism through Global Days of Service, the impact, right, it had on them, but also the impact that it had on their community.
All right, so let's talk about what the collective impact of this movement at SNHU has been. It's pretty impressive. As I mentioned earlier, Global Days of Service did look a little different last year, which of course impacts the impact that we had, but it's still pretty impressive the way that people got involved. Last year, we did have 4 months of service, and each month focused on a different educational topic. And then we tried to focus our service connected to that topic. And those topics included hunger, homelessness, environmental justice, and the pandemic's essential workers. If you participated in any of those events, the service itself, where we had different education sessions, thank you. We still had 3 ways to get involved. The structure just looked a bit different. The numbers that you see on screen should give you a quick glance at the overall impact, and I want to share a few more. More than 1,050 individuals raised their hand to volunteer in their community during Global Days of Service. Individuals from 48 states and DC and 8 countries registered to participate. I think that's awesome. More than 5,500 hours of service completed. There were 40 story shares, and there were 28, quote, official ways to engage throughout the 4 months. And that means that there were definitely more than 28 activities that were taking place, but the 28 official activities was still a lot that was offered from SNHU directly. that was awesome to see people getting involved with. So we also know that it's more than the numbers. Many people have said that Global Days of Service was kind of the kickoff they needed to get involved in their communities, which is really nice to hear. For others, this provided an opportunity for their team to bond outside of the office. Especially, I hear stories like that. That's how I first got involved with Global Days of Service. My advising team did a project together at a local nursing home. I think we painted nails and played some games, if I remember correctly. And it was a really cool bonding experience while also staying connected to SNHU. And I hear that all the time from people who have been involved. It's a new way to meet new people and to make an impact. So with all this information, you're probably wondering, so how do I get involved? You have sold me, I hope, Allie and I have sold you tonight that yes, I want to do this. So where do I get started? And there's definitely a few different ways. You can lead a group project, join a group project, and like Allie said, you can volunteer on your own and share with us what you did. And we're gonna break down each of those a little bit. But first, I can show you what I think is like the most important starting point is to find the Global Days of Service website. There's a few ways we can I'll ask someone to maybe put it in the chat. That's a quick access point that everyone can now favorite right now. Thank you, Chantel. So you can visit it regularly. But another thing that you can do is go to alumni.snhu.edu, a site that if you are an alum, I know you're visiting all the time anyways. You can also type SNHU alumni into Google and it pops up, which is probably what I do. And then on our website, the alumni website, at the top, it says get involved at the top of the page. You select that, then Global Days of Service, this lovely page will pop up. We are still in the beginning phases of getting Global Days off the ground for the March and April like big launch. So information is being added here all the time. Definitely don't worry if you don't see a ton of projects yet. I promise they are coming. The FAQ section though is pretty legit already. And there's a lot to go over on this website. So I'm going to pass it back to Allie to break it down even more.
Awesome. Thanks, Becca. So the first part out of the three options, and I would say they're not necessarily siloed either. Like you can do multiple things as a part of Global Days of Service. You can lead a project, you can join, and you could share your story. So I don't want to make an assumption that, right, like you only can do one, because you can do all of the things that you want to do, which is pretty incredible. So the first part is leading a group project. And so if you have an organization that you work with, that you find on Google or other volunteer sites that you think are pretty incredible and do amazing work, and you're like, I wonder if they take groups. I wonder if they take large groups. I wonder if they take small groups. Can we host something like Global Days here? And that's kind of where this, ID, your project starts, is really in the research part. Just finding an organization that could host some volunteers for Global Days of Service. In the research part, there's a lot to think through, right? You can think through what are their COVID protocols? How many people can they have in a space? What is the location, and would it be accessible for folks that want to volunteer? Is it near a community that is in a radius that, makes sense for folks to travel to, right? Boston or Dallas or Fort Worth or Chicago, right? Just a hub that we know that there are alumni that are living and working. If you're outside, what are rain plans, right? So these are just a few things that you can start thinking about, in addition to what's something that you think people would like to do. Would they like cleaning up a school or a park, or getting together at a food bank and donating items and then working in the food bank? The possibilities are truly endless. I think it really just determines on the organization's capacity to host volunteers, and what their needs are currently during the pandemic. All those things that I kind of listed out in terms of things to consider are going to be questions that will be asked of you when you submit your form. And so on that website that Becca just talked briefly about, leading a project is one component, and there's tons of information just on that one section that shows this 1 through 6 graphic, and we'll start to guide you through some of those pieces. So submitting your form is kind of the initial, hey, I want to do this. These are the details I have, which then comes to a staff member, and we'll review it. We'll ask you some more questions if we have some. If there are things missing that we need to get, a little bit deeper on, then we'll work through that together. Then when it's in a good spot, we really send it over to our comms team that does amazing work. Gets you a page, basically your own page about your project on the website with a headshot, with details about the project. So everything up until that point is kind of just pushing you through to get on the website. Then, right, it's kind of like, okay, this is live, this is awesome. Now people can start registering for my event in whatever community, whatever project you're focused on. You'll see on the website and the next page that I show, there's a few ways that you'll be able to kind of toggle through to look at other opportunities in your area. Then you're coordinating your details, you're working with your organization that you're going to be working with, making sure that everything is seamless up until you actually have your event. And I should preface this by saying all of these pieces right now that I'm talking about could also be incorporated for an online based event, right? Everything, all project, from 1 to 6, all of those checkpoints are really just adjusted for an online or a virtual DIY project. And so if your comfortability level is like, yeah, no, I'm not, I want to lead, but I don't want to go into a community and be in a space, that's okay, right? Like we can think through other project opportunities to make it your own, right? And get some people involved. So rallying your troops, right? People are starting to register. Your date is coming up, which is really exciting. Our staff will walk you through kind of what those communication pieces look like, of how to talk to your volunteers that are signing up, introducing yourself and saying, hey, I'm going to be leading this project. I'm wicked excited. It's going to be awesome. Here's my face so you don't miss me when we're in person. You know who you're looking for, and right, a person you can connect with and have, conversations. If you have questions, the group project leader is your go-to person. And then really, you have your service day, you do your awesome service together, and then you share your story. Whether you're just, just participating, I don't want to say just participate, whether you're participating or you're leading or whatever the case may be, we want you to share your story because it is so impactful as we get a whole picture of the impact that Global Days has on individuals and communities. So that's basically leading a project. I'm sure there will be questions, and I can pause if there are. I can't see the chat, but if there's any questions about this leading a project specifically, feel free to shout them out in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, whatever works. But I will go to the next slide and talk about joining a group project. So similarly, go to that website, Global Days, and you'll see another bucket of ways to get involved, which is joining a group project. So you will basically be volunteering for somebody that's leading, right? So everybody that is probably here in this space right now will fall into one or more of these categories, which is pretty exciting. So if, like I said, if leading isn't your thing, you still want to volunteer, you're trying to find a way to get involved, joining a group project is a great place to be. And so as the slide shows right now, there are no projects right now, which is fine. We're working on it. That's why we're here tonight, to talk to you all. But we're hopeful that we'll see a few populate in the next couple of weeks. And so what will be shown here that you can either search by the name of the project, or there should be a map that has like pinpoints that you can hover over and get more information about each of the projects based on the location of where they are geographically. And so you'll be able to see all of the opportunities, the locations, the days, the times, all the details, learn a little bit about the organization, and then register. This is a really awesome way to just start getting involved in Global Days, is joining a group project. And here you'll see different opportunities of whether it's in person or virtual, or if there's a meetup. There's a whole realm of opportunities that will exist here on this group project page. And then thirdly is volunteering. Volunteering on your own, volunteering as a group, volunteering as a project leader, whatever you're doing, volunteering, we want to know about it. Whether you are working with your community on grant writing, you're working with a soup kitchen, you're helping out at a shelter, you're donating clothes, you're donating items, whatever it is, we want to know and celebrate those stories with you. And so there is a form that is on our website right now. As you can see on the page, there is a yellow box that says share my story. And that's as simple as it is. Share your story. There are some questions that will be asked and you can always add pictures. We have a Google album that will be shared, but we also want you to share your experience on our social media channels. Tag anybody and everybody. Hashtag serve what's new. And we really encourage you to kind of go into multiple places to share your story because you don't know who you're empowering or inspiring by sharing your story. And so we really, really encourage you to do that as a part of anything that you do that's connected to Global Days of Service. Okay, if you have questions about those specifics, I know we'll have time at the end, but we're gonna move on and I'll pass it back to Becca.
Thank you. All right, so now you all can spend a few minutes thinking about maybe how you want to get involved. And while you're marinating on that, let's also talk about what those projects could actually look like and give some examples of years past to hopefully get you thinking. So here are some of our awesome volunteers from last year. I just want to share a little bit about these wonderful people. Like I mentioned, we had broken down last year into 4 different months with a different focus on each month. So the first in February, we focused on hunger. And Brooke, who is a class of 2017 alum, volunteered at the Conquer Coalition to End Homelessness at their Super Fest event. I love that. And then Hassan, also a 2017 grad, packaged and handed out bagged lunch food for the homeless and immigrant population in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is pretty awesome too. These are some great suggestions, not only for projects, but for pictures that you can share with us so we can have you on here next year. In March, the focus was homelessness, and Chantel, who's a current graduate student, she donated a bed to Jacob's Well. You can see the thrift store behind her. It's an organization that holds a special place in her heart. She said, as someone who used to be homeless, she understands the importance of giving people a place to stay and employment at this store, and it's based in Mississippi. Next, for April, the focus was environmental justice. Aaron, who's a member of the Alumni Board of Directors, did some cleanup with his mom as part of the Walk the Talk Challenge, which was created by the Board of Directors to get outside and clean up your community. They did some awesome work in different communities across the country, as the Alumni Board is made up of people from all over. I thought that was a great way to get people involved no matter where you are. And then for May, Tammy is a class of 2020 grad. She actually submitted the story on behalf of her daughter, Gabby, which I thought was really cool. She said, quote, "This is not my story, it's my daughter's. From day one of the pandemic, my daughter has worked long hours. She implemented a program with her store to feed the children in our community. Parents could call and order a free meal for their children starting the day that schools closed. Some children in our community relied on the 2 meals a day they would get at school, and some are homeless and live in motels or shelters. Her company wants to give back to the community that was struggling." What an incredible project, but I also think this shows that, yeah, you want one person to be connected to SNHU somehow, but it can be a family event. Get the people that you're close with involved, friends, family, and make this a true global effort. So those are just some ideas and some wonderful volunteers. And on the next slide, we're just going to talk about a few other options. As we've been talking about, 2021 focused more on projects being done virtually from any location, but we hope that some of these ideas are still going to inspire you for 2022. We did have an emphasis on educational panels last year. If you attended one, I hope you enjoyed them and learned some new helpful information. And I think we're always looking at how education can continue to be a part of the projects, but I just wanted to highlight that it allowed us to work with a lot of different groups, including Chantel's team in online engagement, the Chandler Center for Community Engagement on campus. It was a neat way to highlight alumni who shared their stories and teach people how to get involved. We also had Ocean Trivia Night, which is partnered with the Sea Science Center here in Manchester, New Hampshire. That was co-sponsored with student government, which was a neat way that people could participate in the trivia virtually, but they were learning about an organization here in New Hampshire, but the information was available to anyone to sign up, campus students, and anyone could play in trivia, which is always fun. Walk the Talk Challenge, like I mentioned in the previous slide, was a collective effort to get outside and clean up your community, led by our alumni board of directors. There's also we had a project for Warm Up America, where you could knit and crochet along with this group. They had where you could knit or crochet like a square of, I'm gonna mess up what kind of yarn or anything like that is used, but you could craft on your own and then mail the square to Warm Up America so that they could create different blankets for people in need. But what was extra cool about this project is they actually had one Saturday during one of the months of Global Days, they had an opportunity for people to connect in a Ring Central link like this, and people were doing their crafts while connecting and talking with one another. It tends to come back around, so we are hopeful that will be available again this year. And if you don't see it and you're like, that sounds awesome, let us know. We'd love for you to be the one to lead it or help with it maybe this year. We also have done pet wish lists that I know is in the works for this year. The idea is for each participant to identify a pet or animal shelter or organization that is in need of donations, such as cat food, dog food, toys for animals. Then participants get those items and donate them to the organization in need. That's another great one to participate wherever you are. And then DIY projects, do it yourself, were a huge part of 2021. So they might not have been the like big 40-person clean up the beach with your work team projects that some of you might be familiar with, but they were an awesome way for people to figure out what works best in their community. Some of the organizations that I noticed when I was looking back at some projects are Make-A-Wish, local food banks, the Special Olympics, the Humane Society, and a lot of other local organizations that you all might be already working with and can now bring into your Global Days work.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing those. So hopefully you're excited about volunteering in some capacity with Global Days of Service. And now I just want to briefly touch upon a timeline. And so here we are in the now, and we're hoping that you are just, starting to think through some of these opportunities, get excited about what's to come in the next couple of months. And if you leave tonight and you have more questions, or you want to know more, or you want to talk to somebody directly to flesh out an idea or questions that you have, connect at SNHU if you're a current online student or alumni SNHU. If you're any or all, we will direct you to whomever is going to be the best contact for you for the questions that you have. And if you're interested in leading a project, or just have general questions about Global Days of Service. And then, as we mentioned a few times, the website is going to be the best place for you to keep checking. Look at the opportunities that get posted and register when those programs and projects get live on the website. And then February is really just a time for service projects to get confirmed, working through that 1 to 6 kind of graph framework that we use, and making sure that it's on the map, that it's live and it's ready for folks to be registering for, being able to share that opportunity on social. Even if you are registering for an event, share that on social. Get the conversation going of hey, I'm doing this really awesome thing as a part of SNHU, and it may inspire folks that are outside of the SNHU community to also do some work in their own spaces. And then, you know, another piece is just confirming all the details for a project and starting to connect with participants. And then March and April are months. And so really honing in on joining those projects, leading those projects, sharing your story as another aspect of it all, and celebrating service alongside members of the SNHU community. So above serving, above and beyond serving, what else can I do? Share your story. I think if that's the biggest takeaway from tonight for you all is really just share your story with us, with the community, with people that you have in your world. Wear your SNHU gear. It looks awesome in photos. Whatever you have, I know swag is a key component of the SNHU experience. And so whatever you have, wear it with pride. Tag your favorites on all of the Instagrams, all the Facebooks, all the social media platforms, whatever you have, tag us, and we will share your experience. Use the hashtag #ServeWhat'sNew and tag your organization. If you are serving with an organization that is in your community, tag them. And so they know that they are making an impact in your life, but also as a part of this movement. I think that's pretty astonishing to an organization to say like, hey, let me do a little bit more research into this. Like, what is this school doing and how have they kind of done this over the past couple of years? Because it may turn into something else, which it could be a project place for an upcoming year for Global Days. So you never know. And so where can I get more info? As we mentioned, that website, it keeps coming back. That is going to be your go-to. It will have all the information you need. And if you don't find something on that site, email alumni@snhu.edu. Or we have very specific contacts on this page too. So if you are like, I'm an online student, I'm a campus student, I don't know where I fit, I'm an alum, I'm a staff member. However you are affiliated with SNHU, reach out to somebody, reach out to the alumni office, and we will get you connected to somebody that will be able to help you, because we are so excited about Global Days. We are so excited that you're all here tonight, and we really want to be able to grow the movement with you all. So I'm going to pause there, see if we have questions, and we'll wrap it up.
So one quick question. If I'm participating in another organization service event, can I still mention here, share the details?
So yeah, so if you are, was your question if you're currently working with an organization?
Yeah, I have signed up for one of the local community organization to package the food at Feedmore. We are working on logistics because of COVID. We delayed it. Probably sometime in the March is going to happen. And when that happens, because we have about 16 people, our goal is to pack like 5,000 bags and something like that. So can I share those details here? But that's been coordinated by some other group. Okay,
Yes.
I heard yes. Okay.
Yes, 100% yes, yes. Yeah, so that when we have our, when we have the Facebook page, we'll have an event for Global Days of Service. And so
Okay.
that would be an awesome opportunity to share, like, this is what I'm doing in my area. This is the organization we're working with. You can also, if you wanted to lead a project, I don't know where you're based out of, but if you wanted to lead a project, that is totally an opportunity as well. But there may be some alumni in the community that you're working with that also are part of Global Days, right? And they could find you in this opportunity and make a connection.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. By the way, I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, okay, cool. Yes, I'm sure we have alumni in the area.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for that question. But that's awesome. And that's a huge project. And so it will, I'm sure, be well appreciated for members of the community too.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Does anyone else have ideas of what they're thinking of doing or working on? Feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat if you are already involved in service or planning. Now the wheels are turning, you're like, this is going to be my project.
We do have a question in the chat.
Ooh.
So are you allowed to lead more than one project?
What a great question. I feel like I'm gonna, Allie, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing the answer is yes. I feel like I would say two caveats with it. This is gonna be the advisor and me coming out to make sure, the former advisor, to make sure that you like have the bandwidth for it and that you feel comfortable with that. That you have like the personal time, because these projects can be a lot of work. And so, you know, one is probably enough, but if you are already working on multiple projects or this just like really ignites you, this is what you want to spend your time on, is multiple projects, we would love to have as many volunteers like you as we can get, and you can do more than one. And definitely, I would say probably reach out to one of us to help you and to make sure that you feel all set and have the support that you need to make it happen, because I'm sure that isn't easy, but yeah, we would love that.
That was a great question though. I also, right, like I wonder too if it would be a combination. I don't know what you're thinking in terms of a project, but a combination of potentially an in-person and a DIY, or two DIYs, or right, two in-persons. Obviously in-persons have a lot more logistical pieces that go into it, but I wouldn't say that it's impossible. And if you get your project in early, sooner rather than later, then there will be a lot of you know, time to kind of work through it together and figure out some of those logistics. But that's awesome.
One other thing I want to throw out there, definitely keep the questions coming. Allie, I apologize if I'm stealing your thunder here, but if your organization has VTO, volunteer time off, or if you don't know what that is, maybe talk to your HR contact at your company and see if they do or what they offer it. At SNHU, employees do have VTO that you can use on a project. And you should definitely talk to your manager and HR to get more details. I don't lead you in the wrong direction here, but there's some cool opportunities, I think, to make your schedule work. Especially if you already have VTO, like we do here at SNHU, then why not take advantage and use that time to do some good. Any other questions? I know we're kind of wrapping up on time perfectly, but feel free to share any last minute questions or ideas that you have, or if you want to link to anything again, you missed it, something we said that you want us to go back to, definitely let us know before we wrap up for the night.
Looks like Sean raised a hand.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I don't want to speak for everybody on the alumni board, but I'm on the alumni board of directors. So it's just kind of, if anybody needs anything from our group, we can definitely, you know, put people in contact with people in different parts of the country, or if, you know, you're in one of our local areas, we'll definitely be more than happy to help out with projects and whatnot. I know we're putting together projects of our own, but again, not speaking for everybody, but I know that anybody in my area definitely be willing to help you out there.
Thank you, Sean. That's awesome. A great plug for our board of directors are awesome and wonderful people to get involved with and to volunteer with, but that's a great plug and reminder. I think this is a cool opportunity. You might not know how many SNHU community members are in your community, especially if you're in the online sphere. I think it just feels so big, and like you would never know that the person down the street is also a SNHU student or an alum or is considering this, and maybe this is what's going to convince them that this is the school for them. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and I think that's also an advantage of connecting with other projects and checking the website regularly to see what pops up. Especially after the past couple of years, it'd be awesome to see something pop up in your community and participate and meet new people. And build those connections that way. And also, like Allie said, with social, with tagging organizations if it gets shared on our like alumni Instagram page or the SNHU Instagram page, maybe that's how someone sees it and that's how they reach out. And they don't know until they see someone else is involved. All the time, I think my number one lesson in volunteering is that sometimes people don't feel comfortable or aren't ready until they're asked, until they see the opportunity in front of them. And this is a cool opportunity to invite someone to participate and to build your community.
Last thought, at least from our end, is just get creative, do some researching, look at, I know there's a great site that's with the AARP, and they have a lot of different opportunities, not only in your community, but you can get a general sense of what kind of organizations are around you, what kind of projects do they have going on. But they also have a lot of projects that you can do from home too. And so you could do some general research, but if you have an idea and you want to get some more clarity or run it by anybody, let us know. Like, we're here to help you, and we're just really excited that you all are here and are even considering any part of engagement with Global Days of Service. So.
Awesome. 9:15 on the dot. Perfect. Thank you so much to everyone who was a part of this. We hope to see all of you through the website or see you maybe in person soon for some of these events.